gentlemen, I'm your host, AirsoftAL, the Commons Airsofter who interviews authors so you can hear their thoughts. And today I'm joined by, ironically enough, a cat. A black cat, of all things. So, nothing really new here. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd love to introduce my guest, of course, Ron the Black Cat, the author of America End of the World and the newest online novel, Military Girl in a Zombie Apocalypse or something along that line. I didn't read the second novel that much. I didn't really read the title. I was just interested in the concept. So, Ron, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Uh, Hi guys, I'm Ron, also of as he has already said, American as a world and military goal in the zombie apocalypse. That was correct.
Well, for once I'm not a jackass. Okay, then. Anyway, Ron, I am very first off. I just want to say thank you for letting me do this interview with you. I'm actually surprised you allow me to do this, and the fact that you haven't tried to come through my computer to scratch my eyes out for some of the clerical errors some of your readers have pointed out me doing in the reviews. Which, before we even continue, I have to ask because we're all thinking it. Let's address the elephant in the room. As a cat, how difficult is it for you to use a computer?
It's not that difficult. I mean, the mouse is you play with the mouse. It's you just have to move it around, and my paws are big enough to tap on it, so it works. The only issue I have is probably the keyboard. The keys are a bit small, so I have to try my best to tap it without double tapping anything.
Fascinating. Okay, so Ron, a lot of my viewers are probably wondering, and I know we've talked a few times, but I'm just gotta ask, what did you think of my videos, especially the recent reviews? Which, by the way, as of recording this interview, Chapter 29's review has not come out yet, but in post I'll let people know your reaction to that as well.
I love your reviews. They're like epically funny, and some of like your references, it was like you got them out of like a hat. I didn't even know those references. I was happy little mistakes, as Bob Ross always says.
just happy little mistakes with the little happy little trees. But we're here to actually tackle the hard hitting questions. So, Ron, I gotta ask exactly. You said in chapter 1 or 2, I believe, of America Another World that you did take inspiration from Japan Summon, which of course is in the same vein of Japan, of a country essentially being transported to a fantasy world where the level of technology is mixed, including some of the races, a lot of the ideologies, theologies, sociologies, a lot of this weird cabal of different ideologies and stuff, and even technologies. So I have to wonder exactly. Just take us through your process that kind of that made this world you've created, America Another World.
Okay, so this will be a small, short, long story. That was a paradox, but it's just gonna be a short, long story. Basically, I believe there was like a couple years ago or something when I started, like 1 to 2 years ago, when I started reading some in Japan, and I was immediately hooked on it. I was like, this is the best thing I've ever read. And it was like just last year when I was like reading on like I believe Royal Road and Scribble Hub that came to me. I was like, wait, I can write stuff. I myself can actually write stuff on this and post them. I was like, I really love Japan sovereigns, and it's like I love my country too. I love the Americas, the United States of America. I was like, we're thinking, I was like, what if I put the world superpower inside another world, just like some in Japan? I've actually seen other people do it, but it was like more of them copying, like directly copying out of the story, and then it's like putting America into the situation, which I didn't quite like. So I wanted to have like a bit more uniqueness. So I created this world.
Okay, okay, I see what you're getting at. That's definitely a. I can definitely understand that from a very creative point of view. But something I think a lot of us would love to know is with the 29 chapters you've released so far, is there an end game? Like, are we going to see new players, new factions? Are we going to see some bombshells come about? Are we going to see a lot of like sociological or even like a lot of stuff? Because there there's a lot of things in this world that we just would love to see, and we're kind of curious. Which you don't have to spoil a lot of, but we're just a little curious. Are we going to see more world building, or are we going to see more of what's going on with the current conflict that is inevitably going to happen between these Nazi elves and America?
Well, as I originally planned this story out in 3 arcs, mainly 3 arcs. We already went through the first arc, and this is the second arc. So there's another arc which I'm not gonna be spoiling anytime soon, because that's gonna be like a long time from now. Seeing that, I'm trying to make this middle arc much more detailed than the last arc. The last arc, I might have made a couple mistakes here and there. I made it like too little detailed, and I just felt it's like off, so I just want to like improve it. And there's gonna be, I'm trying to think of like how to like further improve it, which what you have said about like sociological world building. And I've realized I might have made some minor mistakes at the very start of the novel when it comes to world building. So as of right now, this is gonna end. This is gonna be like, this is the second arc, and once the second arc is over, I'm gonna like continue expanding this world before going on to the third arc, and the third arc will be like the final. This is gonna be a final boss, in a way.
So, just as a good comparison, if we're looking at this like from a, and I'm just saying this, so the third arc, in terms of bombastic, is it going to be like Independence Day action, or is it going to be like Michael? Is there going to be a lot of Michael Bay explosions? Like, how bombastic is this one going to be? Because the first arc, we saw essentially the other, which you've confirmed, essentially the otherworld British taking on America, and in America taking on the otherworldly Spain and kicking both their asses in a very Michael Bay way. And now we have essentially the second arc here, which, if pardon, of course, the way I'm going to say it can be compared to something like Band of Brothers, where we see it a more grounded war, where we're following a group of soldiers going through conflict against the Wehrmacht, or in this case, of course, the Nazi elves, as they are trying to fight and defend. But in this case, since it's a fighting retreat, I'd say it's much more akin to Dunkirk, the movie, if anything else. So, again, I'm just asking, like, is it going to be more bombastic, especially with America coming up? Like, are we going to see a lot of are we going to see a lot of cool stuff coming in with that, and just things like that?
I will try to make the third arc as bombastic as possible. That's one plan. It's gonna be like full of explosions, epicness. This is one plan. It's like the third arc is gonna be like is like a blowaway arc. It's gonna be like blow up in your face. But as of right now, I originally planned this out poorly, not that well. So I'm not sure how the third arc will actually go. But I do have a skeleton of an outline.
Okay, okay. When you said you were going back and improving, are we going to see like a remaster of the original?
I'm planning to do a rewrite. Like after this, I'm just gonna sit down, just gonna like read over my entire novel and just like completely change quite a lot of stuff. Like I'm just gonna be world building, actual sensible stuff at the beginning. More like I'm gonna look through all the comments. I'm gonna like read through them, see like what people are complaining about, what they want me to do, as long as it's not too ridiculous, and let's do like a complete rewrite of the thing, and then start posting it again. That's probably gonna be like in 1 or 2 years from now.
Okay, okay. Which I'm definitely surprised you're not pulling a Stephen King, where it's like, oh, everyone's wrong. I am the greatest. Things like I'm actually surprised you're actually listening to your readers, and you're definitely taking criticism and feedback very well, unlike other authors, Stephen King, a few others. But you're currently not high to hell on drugs.
I'm just an amateur author. I'm not like too just big deal things, so I'm just looking. It's like I need to improve. I need to improve a lot. I can see it from my writing. It's like I probably need to improve a lot. But yeah, that's the main reason.
I fully get it. Now, of course, I gotta ask this. What do your folks think of this and sort of the kind of popularity you've gotten? Because looking at the view count right now on even my videos, looking at the view count on my videos have gotten up actually pretty high, and even your books have gotten a pretty high view count looking at them consecutively. So I'm a little curious. What do your folks think of your body of work, or are they aware of your writing?
While my mother is aware of my writing, my father doesn't really care about what I do. That's mainly because most of my parents are not like very good English speakers. They are both immigrants from another country, so the English isn't that good.
Uh, Before we get into the viewer questions, one final question, of course, for you, which this is just a personal one, I think, or at least something I'm going to ask because I have said this before that your story would be great as a visual novel or even as an animated or even a live action show. So I'm going to ask exactly, Ron. Do you have plans to bring this to a visual medium or even an audio medium? Or is there plans to try and adapt your America in Another World to other forms of media?
I would love to. I would really love to, but it's just like some kind of like a manga way. But I don't really have a artist right now, and my autistic skills, let's just say, they're far worse than my writing skills. So, but
You heard him, folks. You heard him. He's looking for artists. He's looking for comic book artists. He's looking for artists to help him bring this to reality. And by God, we should help him out. Comment down below if you're an artist and want to help this guy out.
so I would really love it if it's like after the rewrite, after I've rewritten everything, so that like the second version they can like make a maybe a manga something out of that. That would be something I would probably love to do. But as of right now, the first version it's more of a draft, as many can see.
It's definitely understandable. So, while the visual not visual aspect, you were saying that you're gonna have to wait for the rewrite. What about a audio uh, adaptation, like either a audiobook or maybe a online radio play? Would you be probably open to that?
Well, I will also be open to that. It's just like as of right now, I just don't feel like the current American other world. It just doesn't feel ready for like a major continuation. It just needs more sense. It just needs more like probably more sense, more action, more world building. It's just I don't really want to give like bad work into like something like a visual novel or like an audio play.
Okay, yeah, I understand completely. Now, of course, the big thing is the other work. What inspired you to do Military Girl in a Zombie Apocalypse?
Okay, so I originally when I started writing stuff, I was like in November at that time. So I was just like doing my head of like hundreds of different topics that I have wanted to write, and of course AIW was one of like the stuff that I want to write, and Military Girl and Zombie Apocalypse was also developed in that time too. Surprisingly, although for Military Girl and Zombie Apocalypse, you might notice that it might seem like to be referencing the coronavirus, but it was actually developed in November. I was like thinking, this is gonna be an issue. I'm not sure how disease actually spread. I was like, I'm gonna look into like the 1980s pandemic and probably use that as reference for the disease I had in this novel. And here comes coronavirus. Which was kind of a surprising thing, but it kind of helped me write Miracle and Nuzzle in the zombie apocalypse. Well, what originally started me writing this was like me reading like probably stuff on Royal Road and Wattpad, and I was like reading stuff, and I was like, zombie apocalypse. I have always wanted to write a zombie apocalypse story, even so I'm scared to death of zombies, but I always want to write one. I want to write a cool one too, and that's got my mind started. And like when November when I started writing, I was like deciding whether or not to write Miracle in Zombie Apocalypse first or AAW first, and I decided to write America Another World first.
And America Another World kicked off pretty good. From what I saw of the first actual chapter, uh, the comments were very positive. They were very enthusiastic about the story.
I was also very surprised. I was like, I'm not. I was like, when I was reading through my first, I was like, this isn't that good. But I, I was like, huh. I suppose I could release it and I do a rewrite afterwards. And like the amount of positivity, I was like, originally I was thinking like, if no one liked it, I'll just like drop it and then do a rewrite. And there was like a ton of fans like thinking, should I drop it at this moment? Probably not, because there's actually people who want to read this.
And that is definitely a something that actually faces a lot of authors where they they start writing and then they get a lot of burnout or something. And this is coming from me as a content creator as well, where I will constantly do a lot of videos or I will do a lot of stuff or something of that nature, and it's like, well, I'm just kind of feeling a little burnout. I might want to take a break or something, and then those breaks get a little longer and they start getting longer. And I gotta ask, as a fellow content creator, even though I do YouTube and you write a book and you write online novels, it's still a form of content creation. It's still a form of entertainment. I gotta ask, how do you deal with the burnouts? How are you handling those burnout moments or like reader's block?
Well, as of recently, I've never actually like experienced reader's block. I believe isn't reader's block is when you run out of like ideas. Isn't that the definition of reader's block?
I think for me, reader's block is, or not writer's block is more of a
Right. Okay.
where you
Yeah.
can't think, or it's like you just feel like you hit a wall and you just can't think of a solution to something.
Ah. Well, I've never experienced writer's block, thankfully, since I like plan out like my stories beforehand. But I have experienced burnout. I'm currently in my burnout phase. If you haven't noticed, I haven't answered any of my comments recently. For that, I apologize to my readers, but as of recently, I've been kind of tired. But I'm still chugging along. The engine might be worn out, but I'm still chugging along.
Well, I think this one might come to a lot of people's surprise. Is that and I'm a little curious. Do you have any military advisors on you to help you out, or anyone with a military background to help you with some of the more military scenarios or anything of that nature, or are you just outsourcing that information?
Best friend Google.
You are kidding me!
Yes, and I have like gotten like a couple of messages from people willing to help, but it's just like this one guy who was in the Navy. He helped me on like one of the things at the beginning of the novel, and that was all. And other than that, it was you who helped me with a couple of more stuff. And other than that, was probably Google. It's like mainly Google. Google is my best friend.
Well, look, Ron, if you need to, I am more than happy to help you out. Like, not just me. There are a lot of guys I know who are military, who are creative ideas as well, and they would probably happily help you out. Like, the best kind of people you want to reach out to, especially when it comes to squad tactics, is to the airsoft community. Like, if you ever watched airsoft videos, you can see us using a lot of tactics, especially with the milsim guys. We use a lot of squad tactics, a lot of rifleman tactics. Like, no joke. It is a airsoft is a great example of knowing what tactics to use, sort of how we handle firearms, things like that. It'll probably help you out in understanding how a type of military environment is for ground pounders. But as for anything else, like, if you ever need it, Ron, I and probably my viewers would be more than happy to help you out. If you need some form of military advisors, if you need help with anything related to tactics or equipment, things like that, like, we're more than happy to help you out.
I will gladly ask you in the future, cause you only contacted me like very recently, and I had like most like during this phase was more of like uh the Elven stuff, so as of right now, I don't quite need that much help with some research. But once America gets in, and they will get in, like probably within 2 chapters from now, they will definitely get in. I'll probably will ask you questions, quite a lot of them too.
Well, I am more than happy to help out, especially representing my fair and proud state of Tennessee, the volunteer state. But now that we've answered, I believe that's a good amount of questions to ask you. Let's move on to the viewer questions. And the first one comes from actually one of your readers on your Discord. Yeah. It is called, the person who asked is called Mak Jin, or Mac Jin. Okay. He asked, I swear there's a lack of medieval and classical kingdoms. Will there be more countries? This kind of comes back to the world building question. So, will we actually see a lot more of the world, actually, a lot more of the factions that we haven't seen yet?
I'm trying to like figure out a way of like how to like place it in without actually like making it look like I'm just like randomly placing in these countries. But as I've said, because I kind of yeah, because I well they always they are, but it was gonna make it if I pull out like right now, it's gonna make it look like I'm pulling them out my ass, so that's a problem. But uh, as I said earlier, my first arc was like kind of riddled with mistakes. So basically, I kind of messed up the world editing, but the world building. But I'm looking to like figure out a way to putting like countries like there are classical and medieval countries on the Solani League, on the Solani continent, and I'm hoping that if I do this correctly, I might be able to put them in this arc. So basically, like the medieval countries will actually have a show in this arc, but as of right now, I'm not quite sure. But in my rewrite version, I'll definitely have like a correct world building way. It's like much more world building in my rewrite version than this, because there's a massive lack of that. I know.
Well, okay then. I'm definitely looking forward to the rewrite. I'm definitely looking forward to seeing a lot more factions as well, because you have said that there are beastmen in your world, and a lot of stories don't really. They do cover them a lot, but I'm hoping we get to see a lot more like development. Maybe see a type of like what the social impact of these beings are on America's crazy sociological scale, but from actually my cousin, and I even said this in the chapter 29 review. So this comes from my cousin in AirCav. He says, "Hey Ron, loved the book, but question: where's the army? Where's the AirCav? Where's our time to shine? Where's the love, man? When is AirCav gonna get love?"
Don't worry, they're coming. Yeah, I noticed the lack of that. Yeah,
Don't you be doing a J.R.R. Martin thing, or where it's like, winter is coming. Don't worry, the dragons are coming. It's like, fucking when?
What?
But
Yeah, this orc. Definitely this orc. I probably need to ask advice from you about that. What love?
I will help. I will happily help you out with that. I definitely will, and I will give you a lot of resources when it comes to the AirCav. Now, up next, this comes from my YouTube channel, actually. To the viewer who asked this, Ayo, from ATSF number 222. I've read the story, and I can safely say, love it. Just full exclamation points at the end of that. Was there any kind... his question is this is a long one, so you can answer this however you want, because I'm just going to read the whole thing out, so get ready for it.
Okay.
Was there any kind of commercial shipping going on between the U.S. and the Magus before or even during the Elven invasion? Oh yeah, sure, the French fucking trading with America, that's... Sure, okay. Given that elves have both World War II German-style army and likely hybrid German-Japanese navy, seeing that they have aircraft carriers, is there a conflict between the Elven Army and Navy where they both are trying to compete for materials, if that sort of division exists? That tells me there is a possible material shortage within the Elven nation. I know magic is a thing, but still seems to be required for the tanks and such. This won't change much for the outcome of the Elven American conflict. No shit. But if both answers are yes, then here's a possible scenario that the author can use. A U.S. convoy being watched by an Elven submarine, probably a U-boat design, and they wait for a chance to attack, only to be sunk by a Los Angeles-class submarine in return. Well, ATSF number 222, thank you for your question. Goddamn. And he actually does bring up a really good point. So, was there any kind of commercial shipping between us and the otherworldly French?
Well, like as I have like said, there were like beginning to have them because of like it's been like a couple months and relationships have improved. I should definitely show that in like the rewrite version. I'm lacking like the middle part between when the Alvins show up and like after the defeat of the Mac Imperium. But yeah, there was some commercial shipping. I was like beginning to uh rise up because trade's a kind of important thing to keep up. So yeah, there was some commercial shipping, but not much because it was like just like starting to develop.
Okay, okay. Now, on to the second part of his question, was about the Elven, which I'm calling them the Elven Reich. I know you don't want to call them that, probably, but I'm sorry, that's what I'm calling. They're Nazi elves, okay, people? They who gives a shit if I offend them or not, you know? But seriously though, Ron, is there a sort of division between the Army and the Navy? I know during World War II there was a huge division between the Wehrmacht and the Gestapo as well as the SS. So could we possibly see that kind of division between the two branches of their militaries, or are they sort of like united in the same goal of equal hatred towards humanity?
I actually like I'm thinking like yeah, there should be divisions. Like just for example, the Imperial Japanese Army and Navy, there were like massive divisions between them. It does make sense for like such a powerful combined German Japanese type nation to have like the army and navy to be competitive with each other. So material wise, I would say the our nation will probably have enough materials to construct like a couple, probably like 6 aircraft carriers and probably 5, 7 battleships and like a couple thousand tanks, because still like uh, the continent is about the size of, I'm pretty sure, England. I set them like about the size of England and probably a bit larger. So material wise, it does make sense that they're gonna have the material because it's a natural is a resource rich area, but it does make sense there'll be like competitions because building that big of a military force without trade to the outside world is gonna, yeah, well, is gonna cause some issues between like material wise usage. But just there should be enough resources for them to like function a huge army, and also the fact that magic is like a main component. Ammunition, they do not need to manufacture ammunition at all, so all the metal that goes into making shells, uh, bullets, and all that stuff, that the all the metal goes to like building ships, building tanks, and all that stuff. But yes, there are gonna be probably divisions between the army and the navy. I should implement that. Thanks to you said ATS number 222 for recommending this. Yeah, that makes sense.
Hey, my man, you influenced the offer, so there you go. But yeah, so the final viewer question actually does come from Discord once again. This one actually comes from one of my viewers. Cannot pronounce that name for nothing, but I will say that the numbers are long, so we're just going to say number person. Yeah, they ask. So, to the author of America Another World, I gotta ask, um, would there be possibilities of like using the setting of your story for expanding the story, such as side stories, or even using the setting for, say, like a D&D campaign, or even for a text-based roleplay session? And we were actually I was actually talking to you about this, how uh, some people do, I think I did, I don't know, it was probably my friends, but I'm not gonna lie, Ron, your story does actually set up pretty good for a D&D campaign almost, like just something along that, or even some role play session for text-based role play sessions.
Yeah, that's true. It's just the mm, there are possibilities for quite a lot of side stories. Like seeing that how expensive the world is, it's the insular continent, which is a war-torn world, can be easily used as a side story for something else, and probably a D&D is probably actually possible for like quite a lot of stuff. You can have like I don't know elven D&D, like this beastmen as you said earlier, this medieval era countries. This you can also do like a pre-story or something. What was it called? Like those like prequels. Yes, prequels. Yes, that's the word.
Oh God, prequels! Don't tell me you're going to have the George Lucas dialogue. Or we're going to have an elf couple. They're sitting there on a beach complaining about sand, how it's coarse, rough, and gets everywhere. or or maybe, and just hear me out. Or maybe we finally get to see what happened during the elf civil war that maybe caused them to go down 150 years ago, where someone tries to arrest one of the elf leaders because they find out they're evil, and it's like, I am the Senate.
We could actually do spin-offs of that. As of right now, yeah, I probably need to do rewrite of how like the elves like act, but yeah, we could do possible spin-offs of that, like an elven Star
Okay.
Wars, like separate underground and civil war on the world.
Oh my God, Ron, I love you. Oh God, Ron, you are just hysterical. You are fucking hysterical, and I love it. I love your creativity, my dude. But but yeah, no, that does bring up a lot of things. So I am curious. Are there more story? One, two more questions, of course, to ask you. Since we're going away from the viewer question now, are do you have any more stories you're wanting to tell, or would you be willing to be open to accept other inspirations from other sources of media? Maybe other stories you'd be consider writing, or are you just wanting to continue with like America Another World, or are you okay with just writing two novels at the moment?
Well, I'm if you haven't seen my Osus planning on my Discord channel, which I'm not sure if you saw them, but I'm planning a solo novel, and uh, as of right now, I'm just looking at like I have a ton of ideas. I have a ton of things I want to write. But as of right now, the second novel, it's gonna be a very long novel. It's gonna be even longer than American Another World. It's probably gonna be like 2 books or three. I'm not sure, but I do have a massive plan for the second novel. But as of right now, like the second novel isn't doing that well, so I might like try to like once I get to like a certain chapter and I see like people like what the comments or complain about why I'm doing the stories. The dialogue of comments easier for me to see how well I'm doing. So I'm still waiting for like the comments. But the comments do well say I'm doing well enough. I will probably like continue with the second novel. If not, I'll put the second novel onto the drawing board again. Just like brainstorm the hell out of it, cause it. I just I've revised the second novel like the first 3 chapters multiple times. I still don't feel it's good enough. But for more stories, I do have a solo novel that I do have an idea what I'm doing with that, and I do have like blurbs, like short sentences of possible fourth, like story number 4, story number 5. So I'm not sure about like how those will go, but I do have a solo novel in probably like the premise of the solo novel is already put in stone. I just have to outline the thing.
Okay, okay. So out of curiosity, besides of course you writing, and this is gonna be the last question before we end this video, guys. But or maybe I don't know. We're probably gonna get another question pulled out of the ass. But either way, though. So what I'm curious about is America Another World, and of course Military Girl in a zombie apocalypse. America Another World is obviously the isekai genre where it's fantasy meeting modern military, you know, like Gate, Japan Summon, or uh, any other modern military meeting medieval forces. A Military Girl in a Zombie Apocalypse is obviously your standard zombie apocalypse, unless you're going to pull some Zack Schneider shit and you're going to have some running zombies and some other crazy shit like that. But what I'm curious about is, are you going to write science fiction, or maybe do something with like taking inspiration from other sources? I mean, because I know I myself, being a D&D player, I've created D&D campaign that I know we talked about a lot, but have you ever thought of doing one where humanity is sort of like out in the galaxy, they're kind of lost, or something kind of like a dissection of kind of the human condition, and showing how bad our species are, or maybe just a space opera, or maybe a war drama, something like what are you thinking for like a third novel, or are you going to tell us about that third novel, or maybe what you might try next?
Well, the solo novel is another Icica, but is another Icica story, but it's gonna be like much more different from AAW. So I'm not gonna spoil anything yet. I'm not gonna say that much, but the solo novel, I'm not sure how well that would do, because the Icica genre of this solo novel is kind of overused. Maybe not quite sure. There's like a couple animes out of like with this genre, but I just want to do it, so I'm just gonna go full speed and write ahead and write the sewer novel. But for future novels, I've been dabbling in like probably like more action stuff, adventure. I'm thinking about romance, but I have never actually dabbled in like thinking about like a romance story, but that could be possible. I'm also thinking of like what action, adventure, and romance. That was probably like my main topics, and maybe like overpowered protagonist in like probably those stuff. And you said like science fiction. Science fiction. My science fiction skill isn't that good. The, I don't really watch that much science fiction. What you could say, I also never really watched that much zombie stuff. So it could be a possibility. But I do have like I have thought about like alien invasion stuff, like something I've inspired from like War of the Worlds and like all those like HFY stories. Do you know what HFY stands for?
HFY, you said?
Yeah. Do you know what that stands for?
Not a fucking clue.
Well, it stands for humanity. Fuck yeah.
Oh my god.
So it's basically you could you already see some of the elements in AAW, but I'm looking at like Alien Invasion HFY, like maybe somewhat based off of like War of the Worlds, but less of the disease killed the aliens, more of like or insanity because we humans are space orcs and insane species. But I'm not sure if that's true, but that's quite a basis for HFY stories. But since we're such an insane species, the aliens will just get so confused at us and don't know what to do against us. So I've been dabbling in that too. So that's a possible science fiction story that I'll maybe do. I will have to. It's anything beyond the solo novel. It's just like very murky. But as of right now, I've planned out like the most likely stuff I'm gonna be writing is like action adventure stories, romance, maybe science fiction. As I said, I do have idea of that, but I'm not sure how to like go through with it.
But no joke. I do thank you for actually allowing me to interview you. And do you have anything to say to the viewers and possibly your readers who are watching this interview at the moment? And anything insightful, enlightening for a black cat author who's apparently the child of of two Siamese cats, even though genetically speaking that shouldn't be fucking possible.
Well, I would like to say like thank you to all my readers for reading my novel. Even so, I'm just an amateur author, and I would just like to. I just can't express how thankful I'm for them to like just like be there and read my novel. It's just like when I saw it, right, I was like, I definitely need to improve. I'm not sure how much readers I'm gonna get, and it's like I'm just flooded with support. It's like I love my readers. I I I don't know how to express it anymore. It's just like those are great people. The great people.
Very insightful, Ron. Very insightful. And to you out there, my viewers, I want to say thank you for joining us here on my channel, and thank you, Ron, for allowing me to interview you once again. Again, I am looking forward to so many chapters of America and Another World. And who knows? If you guys want me to, I'll review a Military Girl in a Zombie Apocalypse. Ron, I know you're probably going to want me to.
Oh, you know, I'm very thankful for you for reviewing America and Other World already. It's just I get the feeling Miracle in the Zombie Apocalypse might not suit that well since it's more of like a action zombie story as of right now, and I'm looking to like I'm still like doing a ton of edits on it. I'm still like this doesn't feel correct. There's something feels missing. It's just like I need something in this Miracle. It's just like I didn't structure. I might have not structured it that well or something, but I'll see it where Military and Zombie Apocalypse goes. I have done this for the Military and Zombie Apocalypse. I've like done extreme editing, extreme outlining. I literally know where this is. I know the literal like plot line where it is going. But I think I might need to further improve my writing skills to nail it down.
And that is completely understandable. But either way, though, thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for joining me in interviewing Ron, of course. And once again, thank you, Ron, for allowing me to interview you. And if you guys like what I do, you could consider liking and subscribing to my channel. And if you want to check out and support Ron's work, link to America Another World down below, because I'll be honest, that's his hit. That's his bread and butter. That's what he's good at. As well as through that, you can find his Patreon and his Discord if you guys want to come join us, or at least him, because I am in his Discord. So if you want to jump in, talk about America Another World, and maybe other crazy shit, then please do consider doing so. Also, ladies and gentlemen, if you like what I do, then please consider donating to the PayPal down below. It's folks like you that make what I do possible here at AirsoftAL and AAA Media Co. And, yeah. Either way, though, Ron, do you have anything to say to my viewers and your readers before we end this video?
I would just like to say thank you everyone for watching this, and thank you to my readers too, and adios.
Next time, ladies and gentlemen, I've been AirsoftAL, the Commons Airsofter, who interviews amateur authors who turn out to be sentient, thinking cats who, now that I think about it, need to contact certain people about. Till next time.